There's an ancient strategy hidden in Machiavelli's forgotten ideas, a secret so powerful it can reverse the rules of attraction. Picture this. She starts chasing you, even when you're not trying. Modern science explains why. The more unsure her mind feels, the more her brain releases dopamine, making her want you even more. This isn't magic, it's biology mixed with strategy. In this video, you'll learn the hidden method that turns silence into desire. But remember, once you see how it works, you'll never think about attraction the same way again. The strategy of silent power. Niccolo Machiavelli lived over 500 years ago. He wasn't a king or a soldier, he was an observer of human nature. He studied how people gained power, how they lost it, and why some could influence others without ever lifting a weapon. What he discovered was simple but timeless. Real power isn't about force, it's about emotional control. That same principle can be used in attraction. Most people believe that chasing someone shows care or commitment. But if Machiavelli were alive today, he'd tell you that chasing too much destroys your leverage. When you run after someone, you hand them control. You show that your emotions depend on their reaction, and that makes you predictable. Machiavelli believed that the person who stays calm in emotional storms holds the advantage. In relationships, that means you must see yourself as the reward, not the seeker. You build value by being focused, confident, and grounded, by living a life that naturally attracts others instead of begging for their attention. When you're chasing, you're following their lead. When you're composed, you're setting the tone. He once said, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." In the language of attraction, feared doesn't mean scary. It means respected and desired from a distance. It's about being mysterious enough that others sense your boundaries and are drawn to your calm energy. Think of it like gravity. When you step back a little, you create a pull. In psychology, that space feels like an unfinished puzzle. The human mind hates uncertainty, so when someone feels your absence, they start looking for answers. They replay your words, your silence, your tone, searching for what changed. That confusion activates the brain's dopamine system, the chemical behind wanting and reward. Dopamine fires most when we anticipate something, not when we already have it. By giving a little distance, you aren't rejecting anyone, you're creating anticipation. Their brain starts chasing the next reward, your attention. Machiavelli would call this controlling perception. You don't force attraction, you guide how people see you. When you're calm, self-assured, and slightly unpredictable, people imagine the best about you. They assume you're busy, important, and confident. That curiosity makes you magnetic. But when you're too available, replying instantly, over-explaining, or showing need, you remove all the mystery. The chase ends. It's not that kindness turns people off, it's that the thrill of discovery disappears. So, the strategy of silent power is not about being cold or manipulative, it's about balance and patience. You step back just enough to let attraction breathe. You invest energy into your goals, health, and mindset until your confidence speaks louder than any text message. That's why truly magnetic people appear calm and unbothered. They don't crave attention, and that's why others crave theirs. When you learn to guide emotions instead of being ruled by them, you gain quiet strength. You become mysterious, unpredictable, and powerful. That's the essence of modern Machiavellian wisdom. Influence through self-control, attraction through scarcity, and confidence through peace. The hidden chemistry of the chase. What we call attraction often feels emotional, even magical. But underneath all those feelings, it's really chemistry. When you feel excitement, curiosity, or confusion around someone, it's not just your heart reacting. It's your brain releasing a chemical called dopamine, the messenger of desire and motivation. Scientists from Stanford University and McGill University found something surprising about dopamine. It doesn't just rise when you get what you want, it actually spikes when you almost get it. Our brains release the strongest bursts of dopamine during anticipation, not during satisfaction. That means it's not the reward itself that excites us most, it's the thrill of possibly getting it. This explains why the chase often feels more exciting than the relationship itself. When someone is unsure of how you feel, When there's mystery or unpredictability, their brain enters what scientists call a dopamine loop. It keeps sending out small waves of dopamine, trying to predict what will happen next. Every text, glance, or delay becomes part of a mental guessing game that keeps their attention locked on you. The same effect happens when people scroll social media, gamble, or check their phones for notifications. The uncertainty of maybe keeps the brain hooked. This pattern is so powerful that Harvard psychologist Daniel Gilbert called it the uncertainty principle of desire. He explains that unpredictability fuels emotional intensity because our minds can't stand unfinished stories. When we don't know what's coming, our brains crave answers, and that craving feels like attraction. So when you act just a little mysterious, not distant, not rude, just unpredictable, you're not playing games. You're naturally activating the part of the brain that creates fascination. Her emotions begin to follow her biology. She might think she's just curious, but chemically, she's caught in a loop of anticipation. This is why selective attention works better than constant attention. When you respond sometimes and wait other times, you create what psychologists call variable reinforcement, the same principle that makes people addicted to games or surprises. The mind starts valuing your attention more because it can't predict when it's coming next. But remember, this isn't about manipulation. It's not about ignoring someone to hurt them or gain power. It's about understanding that attraction follows a rhythm, a natural rise and fall built into our biology. When you stay calm, confident, and focused on yourself, you create space for curiosity to grow on its own. Your silence and composure aren't rejection. They're the oxygen that keeps desire burning. Each pause or delay gives the other person's brain time to miss you, to wonder, to imagine. And in that space, attraction deepens. In simple terms, attraction isn't logic, it's chemistry. The brain doesn't crave certainty, it craves excitement and mystery. When you master the art of being unpredictable, through timing, tone, and energy, you create a powerful connection that feels natural, not forced. In the end, the chase isn't about emotion, it's about biology. It's the way the brain transforms uncertainty into desire and desire into pursuit. That's the hidden secret of human attraction, one that Machiavelli might never have explained, but modern science finally understands. The hidden law of desire. Inside the ancient pages of Niccolo Machiavelli's The Prince, most readers look for lessons about power, politics, and control. But if you read between the lines, there's something deeper, something that quietly explains how human attraction works. Machiavelli never spoke of dating or love, yet his ideas about influence, perception, and emotion reveal a hidden truth about desire itself. He believed that real power doesn't come from strength or words, it comes from the ability to shape how others feel. When you can guide emotions, you can guide actions. That's the heart of what we now call the hidden law of desire, the silent way to attract without chasing. Imagine this: you pull your energy back, you stop overgiving attention, and instead of fading away, she starts thinking about you even more. It sounds strange, right? But there's a scientific reason behind it, something psychologists call psychological reactance. Reactance happens when the brain feels like it's losing freedom or control. When someone senses that your attention is no longer guaranteed, their mind automatically tries to get it back. It's a natural defense built into every human. In simple words, the moment you stop giving energy, they start wanting it. This isn't arrogance or manipulation, it's understanding how our biology works. Modern neuroscience proves that attraction isn't only emotional, it's chemical. When you withdraw slightly, her brain releases dopamine, the same chemical linked to motivation, craving, and excitement. But here's the twist: dopamine doesn't rise when we get what we want. It spikes when the outcome is uncertain. That's why the chase feels so thrilling. When she can't fully read you, when she's unsure if you're interested or not, her brain enters a cycle of maybe. Each maybe moment triggers a new wave of dopamine, keeping her hooked. Machiavelli would describe this as control through perception, the art of guiding emotion without forcing it. You're not tricking anyone, you're allowing their own mind and chemistry to work in your favor. Science supports this again and again. Research from Stanford, Harvard, and the University of Rochester shows that people are more drawn to partners who appear confident, selective, and slightly unpredictable. It's because of something called the scarcity effect. When something seems rare, its value rises instantly. The brain links rarity with importance, whether it's a precious diamond, a rare painting, or someone whose attention isn't easily won. So, when you appear calm, composed, and just a bit distant, you're not rejecting her. You're activating a deep biological response. Your silence becomes mystery. Your calmness becomes confidence, and your unpredictability becomes attraction itself. Think about Machiavelli's famous line, "Men sooner forget the death of their father than the loss of their inheritance." He was speaking about value, the things people fight hardest not to lose. In love, it's the same principle. People may forget what you said or did, but they never forget the feeling of uncertainty you created, that emotional tension that makes you unforgettable. Here lies the hidden law. The less certain she feels about you, the more her brain tries to solve the puzzle. The more she tries to understand you, the more mental energy she invests in you. And the more energy she invests, the stronger the emotional bond becomes. That's how dark psychology, biology, and human strategy connect. It's not witchcraft or deceit, it's the science of how the mind works. Machiavelli's lessons about rulers and kingdoms were never just about politics, they were about influence itself. And influence is at the core of attraction. So, when people say, "She only wants what she can't have," realize that it's not a cliché, it's biology. It's dopamine, uncertainty, and evolution working hand in hand. The chase isn't random, it's chemical. The brain is wired to want what feels scarce, and the person who understands that pattern quietly holds the power. And that's the true secret Machiavelli hinted at centuries ago. Real influence doesn't come from constant effort or chasing approval. Sometimes, the greatest power lies in doing nothing at all, and letting curiosity, chemistry, and human nature do the chasing for you. The science of desire, how nature shapes attraction. Attraction isn't just about looks, style, or success. It's something much deeper. It's a mix of hormones, brain chemistry, and instincts that go back to the earliest humans. Every feeling you get, confidence, curiosity, excitement, starts as a chemical signal inside your body. And when it comes to attraction between men and women, two hormones quietly control the show: testosterone and estradiol. Let's start with testosterone, often called the power hormone. It's mostly found in men and has a huge influence on how you move, speak, and carry yourself. But it's not only about muscles or aggression. True testosterone strength shows in calmness, focus, and quiet confidence. When your levels are healthy, you naturally feel more composed and sure of yourself. You don't need to brag or chase, your energy already speaks for you. That calm power is what many women subconsciously notice. It sends a signal that says, "I'm steady, I can handle pressure, and I know what I'm doing." From an evolutionary view, these traits represented protection and stability, things every human brain is still wired to find attractive. Now, on the other side, there's estradiol, a form of estrogen that strongly influences how women feel and respond emotionally. Estradiol makes women more sensitive to small details, a person's tone of voice, posture, facial expression, and confidence. When a woman meets a man who feels grounded and not desperate for attention, her estradiol levels can rise, sharpening her curiosity and emotional focus on him. Here's where things get interesting. When you step back a little, when you don't message constantly, when you take your time to reply, when you seem calm and unpredictable, her brain doesn't see it as rejection. Instead, it interprets it as scarcity, a natural signal that says, "This person has value." Psychologists and economists call this the scarcity effect or valuation bias, the rule that the rarer something is, the more people want it. It's why limited edition items, rare collectibles, or even people who are selective seem so appealing. Our brains automatically give more emotional weight to what feels exclusive. So when you become a little less available, her attention actually increases. She starts thinking about you more, imagining your day, replaying past moments, not because you manipulated her, but because her chemistry links rarity with importance. This pattern comes straight from evolution. Thousands of years ago, humans competed for limited resources: food, safety, leadership, and strong partners. The person who stood out with confidence and self-control seemed like a better bet for survival. That ancient programming is still in our biology today. When your testosterone helps you stay calm and confident, and her estradiol sharpens her emotional awareness, their interaction creates what we now call chemistry. It's not luck or magic, it's the body's natural design for attraction. So when you pull back just enough to let her feel your absence, her biology starts doing the work. Her dopamine and estradiol increase, making her more focused on you, while your testosterone keeps you steady and collected. That balance, your grounded presence and her heightened attention, creates the invisible pull we all recognize as desire. This isn't trickery or manipulation, it's just how nature built human connection, a dance between confidence, curiosity, and timing. When you understand it, you're not playing games, you're simply moving in rhythm with biology itself. The law of magnetic control. Every strong attraction follows an invisible rhythm, not built from words or tricks, but from energy, behavior, and human chemistry. It's not about pretending or playing mind games, it's about understanding where your focus goes and how to create space for desire to grow naturally. This method, which I call the law of magnetic control, blends emotional intelligence with biological truth. It's not about forcing someone to chase you, it's about becoming the kind of person who naturally draws others in. Let's go step by step. 1. Step back. With purpose. Pulling away doesn't mean ignoring or vanishing, it means turning your focus inward. When you stop chasing attention and start investing that energy into yourself, your goals, your growth, your peace, something changes inside you. Your confidence rises, your body language becomes stronger. Even your voice and posture start to reflect calm authority. Biologically, this happens because your testosterone, the hormone linked to drive, strength, and confidence, balances out. You no longer seek approval, you radiate stability. And that quiet self-assurance is what people naturally find magnetic. 2. Create gentle uncertainty. The brain loves patterns, and once something becomes predictable, it loses excitement. So when you change your rhythm, you create curiosity. Reply at different times, be warm one moment, busy the next. Let her wonder a little. This is not manipulation, it's science. Studies from Stanford and McGill University show that dopamine, the wanting chemical, doesn't rise when we get what we want. It rises when we anticipate it. When you're a little unpredictable, you trigger that anticipation loop. Her mind keeps replaying you, searching for the next reward, your attention. 3. Lead with quiet confidence. True confidence isn't loud or aggressive. It's silent and steady, a calm energy that says, I'm in control of myself. When you stay composed, your stress hormones drop and your testosterone stays stable. People pick up on that energy without you saying a word. It shows through relaxed eye contact, slower speech, and calm movement. You don't need to prove anything. That stillness is what signals real strength, and strength is always attractive. 4. Be selective with your attention. Attention is valuable. Treat it like gold. Give it only to those who earn it. If she shows effort, mirror it. If she pulls back, you pull back too. This balance creates respect and keeps the connection alive. Psychologically, when someone works harder for your attention, their brain gives it more value. It becomes a reward instead of a routine. That's how attraction deepens without words, through effort and equal exchange. 5. Reappear unexpectedly. When you take a short step back and then suddenly re-enter her world, a message, a comment, a quick call, it reactivates the brain's curiosity. Novelty excites the reward centers of the mind. Every unexpected interaction feels like a spark of something new, reigniting the connection. This unpredictability keeps things exciting and alive, not because of games, but because the brain craves new stimuli. 6. Stay genuine on always. None of this works if it's fake. Pretending to be confident or unavailable only creates confusion. Real attraction happens when your inner energy matches your outer behavior. When you're truly content, calm, and focused, it shows effortlessly. People sense authenticity. They can feel when your peace is real, and that's what builds long-term attraction, not pretense. Research from the University of Rochester found that people who seem hard to get are perceived as more desirable, not because they're playing games, but because effort builds emotional investment. The harder the brain works for something, the more it values it. That's neurochemistry, not pride. So when you apply this law the right way, you don't become cold or distant, you become balanced. You turn attraction into something natural, something rooted in both psychology and biology. It's not a game to make someone like you. It's a practice that helps you reclaim your energy and let attraction grow on its own. Because the moment you stop chasing, you create space, and in that space, curiosity begins. Curiosity turns into attention. Attention turns into desire. That's how you master the law of magnetic control, the timeless balance of self-worth, mystery, and emotional strength. The mind hook, how space turns into desire. In the world of attraction, attention is everything. The less of it you give, the more power you hold. When you pull back and create distance, you don't just vanish from sight, you activate one of the brain's most powerful reactions. It's called the Zeigarnik effect, a hidden force that makes people obsessed with what feels unfinished. This idea came from the work of Bluma Zeigarnik, a psychologist from the Soviet era. While studying waiters in a small cafe, she noticed something unusual. The waiters could remember every unpaid order in perfect detail, but as soon as the bill was paid, the memory vanished. That's when she realized something huge. The human mind can't stand unfinished business. We are wired to crave closure. When something feels incomplete, a story, a goal, or even a relationship, our thoughts loop back to it again and again. It's like your mind opens a file and refuses to close it until the task is done. Now think about how that works in attraction. When you pull back a little, when you stop texting as often, when you become more focused on your own life, you create that same feeling of incompleteness. Her brain starts wondering, what happened? Did something change? Did I do something wrong? And without realizing it, she starts replaying every moment, every message, every interaction, looking for an answer that isn't there. This isn't manipulation, it's simply human psychology. Her brain is chasing closure, and you have become the missing piece. That's why constant availability kills attraction. When you're always present, predictable, and easy to reach, her brain labels the experience as finished. There's no mystery left to solve, no emotional tension to maintain interest, but when you step back, even slightly, you reopen that mental loop, and her thoughts start to circle back to you again and again. It's the same principle that keeps people addicted to cliffhangers in TV shows or unresolved stories in movies. Our minds crave resolution. We can't stop thinking about what we don't fully understand. When you apply this idea in relationships, gently, not cruelly, your absence becomes louder than words. Every moment of uncertainty creates curiosity. Every unanswered message creates anticipation. Every small gap of silence becomes an emotional echo that keeps you alive in her thoughts. You stop being just another person in her messages. You become the mystery she wants to solve. This is exactly where Machiavellian strategy meets modern psychology. Machiavelli believed that influence isn't about control, it's about perception. He taught that real power comes from guiding what others focus on. When you pull back, you guide her focus toward you without forcing it. You make her attention your silent ally. Distance becomes attraction. Space turns into gravity. Your absence builds a presence in her mind stronger than constant contact ever could. But here's the key. This must be done ethically. It's not about emotional games or cruelty, it's about learning balance, knowing when to give energy and when to hold it back. It's about using self-control to spark curiosity, not pain. So next time you feel tempted to over-explain, over-text, or over-please, pause. Remember that silence has power. Space creates intrigue, and curiosity is the beginning of desire. When you understand how the mind seeks closure, you don't need to chase. You simply let human nature do the work for you. The moment you create space, you plant a question, and as long as that question remains unanswered, you stay alive in her thoughts. That's not manipulation, That's psychological intelligence, turning distance into attraction and attention into influence. The law of power and heart. Power can be the light that helps you grow, or the fire that burns everything around you. It's not power itself that's dangerous, but the way it's used. The same psychological methods that attract people can also break them if your purpose is selfish or cruel. That's why every lesson in dark psychology needs something brighter beside it: empathy, awareness, and a conscience. The truth is, Machiavelli's ideas were never meant for love. They were written for survival, for rulers, soldiers, and leaders trying to keep control in a world full of lies and danger. His methods worked in politics, but human connection isn't a battlefield. When you try to use manipulation in relationships, it stops being strategy and becomes destruction. When you learn to stay calm, be mysterious, and manage attention, remember, the goal isn't to hurt or control anyone. The goal is to understand how attraction and emotion work, so you can master yourself, not someone else. You're not trying to play games with feelings, you're trying to learn emotional strength. Because the truth is simple, power without empathy leads to loneliness. If your goal is to confuse, punish, or trap someone emotionally, it always turns against you. People's brains are wired to recognize real emotion. We naturally trust authenticity and distance ourselves from deception. Science supports this. In psychology and neuroscience, there's a bonding chemical called oxytocin, often called the love hormone. It's released during real connection, when people hug, laugh, or share honest emotions. Oxytocin builds comfort, trust, and attachment. But here's the catch: oxytocin can't grow where there's manipulation. It only appears when authenticity meets trust. If you fake your feelings or use strategy to control someone, their brain senses the disconnection. You might spark short-term attraction through mystery or distance, but it will fade. Real chemistry can't be faked. It's built on emotional truth. When you use these principles correctly to build confidence, focus, and emotional control, you evolve. You become calm without becoming cold. You lead without dominating. You attract through your energy, not through tricks. The most magnetic people aren't manipulators. They're grounded. They respect themselves and others. They don't chase attention, and they don't destroy trust to feel powerful. They use influence gently, not forcefully. That's real confidence. Even Machiavelli would admit this. Control through fear fades fast, but control through respect lasts. So when you use these lessons, the mystery, the pauses, the silence, treat them as tools for growth, not weapons for control. Real mastery begins with self-awareness, not manipulation. Learn to guide your impulses, not people. Learn to command your responses, not emotions. The true meaning of dark psychology isn't to play with minds. It's to protect your peace and understand human behavior deeply. Because manipulation creates stress, but honesty creates strength. Strategy can light the spark, but kindness keeps it alive. If you ever have to choose between being powerful or being kind, always choose kindness. It lasts longer, feels lighter, and builds trust that no manipulation ever can. So use these lessons as mirrors, not weapons. Let them show you how to be calm, centered, and confident without losing compassion. Remember this simple rule: power without heart destroys. Power with empathy transforms. That's how you rise above the game: strong, self-aware, and real. In the end, this ritual isn't about forcing her to chase you. It's about transforming yourself into the kind of man she naturally wants to pursue. Distance shouldn't come from arrogance, but from clarity and purpose. The space you create should reflect self-control, not ego. When your mind, emotions, and actions move in balance, when biology, psychology, and strategy connect, attraction happens on its own. That's the hidden truth Machiavelli never wrote, but nature has always known. If this video helped you see the hidden side of attraction, tap the like button so more people can uncover these secrets too. Make sure you subscribe and turn on the bell icon, because in the next video I'll reveal the reverse bonding effect, how someone can become emotionally attached through pure behavioral psychology. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever noticed that when you stopped chasing, they suddenly started paying attention? Or maybe you've been the one chasing what you couldn't have. Share your thoughts in the comments and include the word power shift. That's how I'll know you truly understand the deeper game. And remember, in psychology, silence often speaks louder than words, and attention is the real currency of desire. See you in the next one. Stay focused, stay aware, and always stay in control.